Today, the National Capital Region boasts an incredibly robust portfolio of transit-oriented development projects. The area is making great progress forward while borrowing liberally from its past to create truly livable communities.
This last year and a half since I've been DOT director, we've been looking a lot at what the city used to look like to get a roadmap really for what the city could and should look like in the future.
There's no better example, perhaps, than the resurgence of the streetcar. At one time, there were more than 200 miles of streetcar tracks in Washington, D.C., and entire communities were built around the rails. Today, construction is underway in the district on two initial lines, with revenue service expected to start in 2012. Overall, the city is planning for 37 miles of new track on 8 lines to complement the current transit options in the city and better connect existing and emerging neighborhoods.
We don't really have a transportation system outside of bus that's focused on linking neighborhoods and stimulating economic growth. And that's something that the streetcar definitely did the first time, and we think it can do it again.
Neighboring Arlington County is also looking to the streetcar to improve transit service and to support the revitalization of commercial corridors like Columbia Pike.
And I think what you're going to see is the evolution over time of a new network of light rail that kind of fits in between the heavy rail of the subway and the bus system.
Arlington and the district have also teamed up to bring another old-fashioned form of transportation back in fashion, the bicycle. In September, they launched Capital Bike Share, the largest bike-sharing system in the United States. Already, 2,800 members are using the distinctive red bikes for short, eco-friendly trips that require no capital investment, just a helmet.
When you look at old historic pictures of Washington, and to be honest, many other cities, particularly New York, Seattle, San Francisco, a lot of the older cities back then, the streets were flooded with people walking and biking. And when they weren't doing that, they were hopping on the streetcar via wooden platforms. And so we are absolutely bringing those systems back.
Streetcars and bike sharing are very visible signs of a larger transformation taking place across the region. In places where sprawl and crawl was once the planning mantra of the day, now transit-oriented development is spreading and taking hold in many different ways. Here you can see TOD in every stage, from the already established Roslyn-Ballston corridor in Arlington, along Metro's Orange Line, long recognized as a national model, to Tyson's Corner, where an effort is underway to transform the auto-centric business district into a thriving urban center. Its grid of wide streets and office towers can be hostile to pedestrians, but transit is finally coming. A new metro line is under construction, and a new comprehensive plan calls for improvements to make walking easier and safer. Other examples abound across the area on both sides of the Potomac River.
That really is the way everybody talks now in every jurisdiction. To one degree or another, they recognize that we've got to find a way to do some things differently. Otherwise, we're just going to be caught in congestion, and eventually our economy is going to suffer.
Even in places that were already urban, like downtown D.C., exciting changes are taking place, and transit-oriented development has already demonstrated its value. A great example is the historic neighborhood of Columbia Heights. Ravaged by the riots of 1968, now it is a vibrant mixed-use community with a thriving retail center, all within walking distance of a relatively new Metro rail station.
I don't think there's any place you can go in America that has more going on by way at different stages. Again, some very developed, some finished product. If you go to some of the station areas like several parts of the District of Columbia, like Bethesda and like the Roslyn-Ballston corridor here. But you can also see places that are kind of in transition, where new things are being tried. And you can go to some places that aren't there at all, but for which there's just planning. So I don't think there's a single better place to study what can be done in all the stages of its development than the National Capital Region.
I think there's a lot for people to see, as well as the fact that we have streetcar lines under construction. We have a great circulator bus system, and we have a brand new bike sharing system, which is the largest in the United States. Not to mention that this is the capital of the free world, and you might be able to do a little lobbying while you're here on Capitol Hill.